Is prostitution really a choice, or is it what survival looks like when nobody sees the pressure? Well, today I'm going to talk about this topic, which affects a number of girls who left their home countries, of course, to move abroad. First to note is that nobody leaves home dreaming of survival mode, and nobody grows dreaming that one day they will move to a foreign country and sell their body. Well, it's quite noisy. Before I dig deep down into the topic, I think I'll get home first. See you in a bit. Wow, finally home. Quite tired, but I'm glad I'm back. So anyway, this kind of topics is not one of those topics I like to talk about because of the controversy, judgment, and strong opinions which people hold. It's like political, it's like politics, where everybody is entitled to their opinion, and people tend to feel like whatever they hold on to is what should be applied without caring what the other perspective of the other views of other people. Exactly. Anyway, recently I was triggered by a comment online. That's why I decided to actually talk about something about it, where someone said confidently in the comment section that prostitution is a choice, nobody is forced. And remember, before that comment, there was a post from a black woman living abroad, and she explained how a random man approached her and asked how much. Not because she knew her, and not because she was doing anything wrong, but it's because of the area she was in and the stereotype he associated with black girls there. Well, this girl felt really offended, and she felt offended and took it to the social media, urging the girls in that area to stop what they were doing. Honestly, conversations like this are not new, I think. They keep coming back, and that's why today I felt like maybe I could talk about it based on the experience I've seen since I moved abroad from Africa or from Kenya. Well, Africa can also be abroad. Not to shame anyone, not to moral police anyone, by the way. But it's just to unpack the reality that many girls actually don't talk about, In reference to this topic, many people like to refer it as a choice. Anyway, I think we love the word choice, and it sounds powerful when someone says it. It sounds independent, it sounds intentional. But let me ask something deeper. Is a decision still a choice when your options or alternatives feel like suffocation? When you're abroad, your visa is about to expire, when your tuition fee is due, or when your rent just increased, when your family back at home thinks you're making it because you're abroad, when your qualifications, for example, is not recognized after moving abroad, when jobs reject you because you're overqualified or just can't pay you enough money to keep you moving. And on top of that, you are trying to navigate around racism, isolation, unfamiliar systems, new languages, everything. That's where I think the conversation becomes more complicated. And of course, there is also the lifestyle pressure where someone is trying to fit into the system or trying to fit into the culture of social media and what have you. So I would like to think that many of these girls are coming from areas where it's quite busy, so places like cities which are a bit congested, or somehow things are just moving a bit in a different style. Like Nairobi, for example, life is so busy there, loud, connected, you have people around, there's a lot of noise, there is a lot of community, and then if you suddenly just move to Europe, life becomes a bit quiet, structured, isolated, and the hustle changes. So in my example, for example, Nairobi the challenge is of course economic, and then if you happen to move to Europe, sometimes the challenge is just emotional survival. So you are battling loneliness, cultural distance, starting from zero, like you move just with you and a few suitcases, if at all you're lucky, more than two. usually one or two. And slowly the dream you imagine starts to kick right on your face. You start colliding with the reality, of course. And of course, on the social media, it says you should be glowing, you should be traveling, you should be leveling up once you get abroad. Your bank account at the same time is saying, hey girl, you should survive. And then there is the pressure that builds up because the family expectation back at home is massive. You're abroad, in your mind, you feel like you should be rich, you should be above the average. There is, of course, the visa insecurities. You're limited on things you should do, like the number of hours you're supposed to work. If at all you're in school, the tuition fees, you remember when you left your home country, perhaps your parents sold the few cows that were left for you to be to join that school abroad, and then you realize that actually the money that was contributed is not enough, and the choice of going back also is not an option because the money was spent was in the hope that one day you'll be successful and you'll be able to return it back. And of course, the loneliness, like trying to mingle when things are actually not working for you. And of course, there is this, I think it's everywhere, the predatory men who actually, they target the vulnerable women who come from these vulnerable groups or communities or poor backgrounds. And some also have like this stereotypical way of thinking, trying to sexualize or feel like exotic women are, I don't know, call it all. If we are to be honest, I think not every story is the same, of course, and some women are exploited. Actually, some are manipulated, some are like really feel trapped. Some make decisions in survival mode, and the reality, I think, is actually quite complex than the things even I'm mentioning. And to pretend otherwise, it doesn't help anyone. To pretend that these things doesn't exist, I think it doesn't help. I wouldn't want to like be the moral police to judge what's right or wrong at this moment. But I think if you're a Black person abroad, just note that stereotypes already follow you. There is hypersexualization, sorry. There is exoticization, so like where you feel in other people's eyes as an exotic person, and therefore you are viewed differently based on the experience of the stereotypes they already built before. There is, of course, the assumptions where some people think that actually Black women are quite submissive, Black women are maybe poor or easygoing. So that such kind of things are likely to follow you. So when a man says like all the Black girls, for example, for this lady who put a post or was ranting online, that all the black girls there are working girls, according to what this man was trying to defend after that. That is just a stereotype that actually didn't start with him. It is a stereotype that exists with many, and unfortunately, that's the painful truth. And because there has been a few patterns before, so when patterns becomes visible, perceptions, of course, spread. So if at all a particular area develops a habit whereby a few individuals get into, like, are working girls, so the rumors spread, and then it becomes to the ears of the stereotypes men that the people that if you go there, the women that you end up meeting there, just know they're working girls. So it is a pattern that actually spreads perceptions. And what I would also like to point is that, perception, it doesn't care about your individual story. It doesn't care if you could be a student. It doesn't care if you're a nurse. It doesn't care if you became a doctor. It doesn't care if you're an entrepreneur, successful, or a professional woman walking down the street. But sometimes people only see the stereotype, unfortunately, and that's the painful part. The painful part is that you can't be able to change everybody's stereotype way of view, because it's already, the patterns have been existing and has been spreading false perception. And these are things that we could try and learn to, of course, change the narratives by becoming better. But it doesn't take the fact that there are women out there that are actually in this position, not because they want, not because of anything, but because they found themselves there. Maybe they are manipulated, coerced. There are so many things that you could actually take into perspective before ranting online, in my opinion. So the internet debates the question of, is it a choice? And the answer people actually want usually is simple: yes or no. Is it a choice or not? Or is it right or wrong? Are you a victim or are you responsible for that? But I think like the reality really fits into those neat categories. Technically speaking, yes, it can be a choice, and no one is physically forcing every woman who enters that space. But the real question is this: what kind of choices exist when your options are extremely limited? Of course, there are many, but not the way people think or other people who are in this category think, because you need, first of all, information. If you don't have the information, if you don't know where you can get the information to develop yourself, then you're going to start from a very rough ground, I would say. Because some women are exploited, they're manipulated, they're coerced, and they just don't know how to come out of it. Some genuinely see it as quick money compared to working those exhausting jobs for a minimum wage, and some enter it out of desperation, for sure, and some enter it because the market is already there, like you're abroad, so if you compare whatever you would get, just easy money, to what if you were maybe perhaps in wherever country you're coming from, that would be maybe a person's monthly salary, so such kind of things. And last but not least, some actually believe they're genuinely making a smart financial decision. We've seen already influencers even getting platforms in the interview sections of the things they're doing, in this category. I would say it like modern prostitution. So some really genuinely believe, or even do it proudly, like a financial decision that they're taking forward with. And the thing is, the reality is not one-dimensional. And here's where the internet also gets divided, because two truths can exist at the same time. So one side would definitely say, don't judge, it's a body. And the other side would say, yeah, it reinforces stereotypes. But yeah, it's just the consequences of certain choices. So even the people who get themselves into or get involved into such kind of moves, perhaps the consequences are never felt at hand or are never thought of, and people get also pressure from within and the vulnerability also that it comes along with. So I would say that the internet usually chooses only one side, either complete sympathy or complete condemnation. But the real world is far more complicated than that, I think. Understanding the pressure, it doesn't mean that we are celebrating the outcome, and acknowledging consequences does not mean ignoring the struggle. Now this is where I think the conversation becomes even more difficult, because if you are talking about systemic pressure is important, but ignoring personal responsibility is also dangerous, because many immigrant women face structural barriers, of course, visa restrictions, limited job opportunities, language challenges, cultural isolation, and sometimes actually racism. And these are real obstacles. I mean, I'm just saying them lightly, but I know there's some women who really face it roughly, and they just can't get themselves out because they use it, maybe, like, I don't know how I can put it, but I know there's some women who actually face it roughly without even them knowing how to dig themselves out of the hole they dug themselves into. So what I would say is that, yeah, such decision basically shape your sense of possibilities, and it affects also it, or rather shapes your opportunities. At the same time, every decision that we make also shapes our future. It could be fun for now, but 10 years from now, if you ask the person who got themselves into, they're not proud of it. They are not really proud of that, or rather proud of whatever they got themselves into. And even sometimes the perception of the communities we belong to, that's the uncomfortable part that we don't like to discuss, actually. Because when certain patterns become visible in a neighborhood or in a city or in an area, people stop seeing the individuals. They start seeing groups, like those girls. That's like you're commanded as a group, not as an individual. And unfortunately, stereotypes grow from those patterns. So is that fair that it is so like that, that's how it is? Of course not. But ignoring that's the reality also doesn't protect anyone, because that's the reality of how things are. So the conversation cannot just say that society is the problem. We also have to ask, like, what alternatives are we building? What skills are we building? Are we developing? Sorry, what long-term strategies are we thinking about? Because survival decision might solve a crisis today, but they can never be able to solve the problems of tomorrow. They can actually create bigger problems. And this is not about blaming anyone who struggles. Many of us move abroad are navigating systems we never even thought of. And remember, for you to leave your home country to move abroad, you've really fought a lot. You've fought a lot, and you're stronger than what you think, actually. You are really stronger than what you think, and you just need maybe a few information. And right now, actually, with all those search engines, you can easily get far. You can actually access many information that you didn't know. You can actually mingle with the right people who actually want the best out of you, rather than mingle with people who just wants you to get it's easy. But of course, the decision lies on you, and also the decision lies on what's ahead of you. So yeah, I think the video can be as long as possible, but I'll make it a bit shorter. So to the Black Queens who happen to have bumped into the video, just before moving abroad, get yourself informed about the immigration laws, get yourself informed about the credit that you can actually access, the education pathways, the career mobility, the financial system as well, you know. For example, there are some countries, if you just move there, you could actually get scholarship, you could actually get trained for free, you could actually enroll in a school for free. So these are information that are out there. You just need to use your phone correctly, you need to use your computer or whatever. Use your ability to talk, to share with someone that you trust about your problem. Who knows, maybe the person you're talking to is the key to your next solution before moving fast. But of course, I'm not judging. If the faster way to get it right is what lies within you now, so be it. And instead of judging or defending, maybe the bigger conversation should be about offering solutions, like, you know, educating for the people who have like the knowledge and have kind of such kind of friends around or people they meet around, you could actually offer education. I mean, like a bit of tips of what to do. The financial literacy, which actually many women don't have, because you could find like you think that you're actually broke, but you're not broke. You're just spending too much, and then you end up in such categories. Skill building, for example, that is something that actually could be nurtured or encouraged. Therapy and healing, there are people who are already there or have already came out of the situation but keep on going back because they just don't know how to get themselves out of the situation. So if at all you could offer therapy or know someone who needs it and know where they could get it, you could actually support on that. Because to become, it's not glamorous. You need a lot of discipline, you need patience, you need a lot of no, of course, and it is just not saying no when quick money is tempting, it's like meaning it. But anyway, on this case, I want to hear your perspective. So if you have watched this video until this point, I want to hear your perspective. And to the people who judge, you can, of course, you're entitled to your opinion, you can judge as much as you want, but before you judge her, try to understand the pressure behind the choices, the stress, the struggles, the upbringing, the expectation. These are things that are never seen. They're never told until you dig into someone's story, but of course, yeah. And of course, to understand the pressure, it doesn't mean that you ignore the consequences. At some point, the question becomes not just how to survive today, but what kind of future is being built tomorrow. You know, you need to understand that if at all you feel trapped in such a situation or want to get involved. And if you're a Black girl, of course, again, if you're navigating systems, stereotypes and isolation or whatever of this note, remember you're stronger than you think. You are really stronger than you think, and you're stronger than the survival mode that you want to put yourself or you have put yourself into. Your story is bigger than your current struggle, and the goal was never to survive abroad. The goal was to become. So become the person you wanted to be without having regrets afterwards. And please don't judge me, but this video is not telling anyone how to live. You can live whatever way you want, but ask yourself, like, if today you wanted to become this person that you imagined, and all of a sudden, because of the choices you are making today, you're not able to satisfy them, even if you get that money that you really wanted after to, like, for example, if at all you get yourself into trauma experiences afterwards where you can't really focus on the degree you've achieved or on the things that you wanted to achieve later, then it's of no use. You will just have your good certificate, maybe a bit of money in the account, and your trips will be either from home to therapy home, and you'll not even be able to work. So these are things you could also actually consider because they're important. But of course, if you are already in the situation where you don't know how to come, you don't know how to get yourself out, remember there is also therapy. There is also you can also share with the friends you trust. Not everybody, if at all, it's going to affect you, but you can share with one or two person whom you trust, and you never know. Maybe the solution lies within. And this is also not that I'm thinking I'm better than anyone. I'm just trying to create awareness because, yeah, nowadays online you find everything. And I know some people actually, they're not in such situation because they want. And because it's easy to type something, many people who are also in this situation read such comments and they feel like, oh God, this is it. I knew what's gonna happen, and my life is now almost coming to an end, because you know everybody says it's my choice. Exactly. So if you're that young person planning to come abroad, just know there are legitimate ways of earning money. You can build a business. Actually, you can pursue your degree even without paying, because there are scholarship. There are different types of scholarship. You don't have to be the cleverest person ever. You also don't have to have that degree. You can join colleges where you get trained. You don't have to always work with the big certificate. You can also have smaller certificate, but still be able to achieve the dream you want. Yeah, surviving mode is loud, of course, but building mode, building yourself, is more powerful. Let's avoid the pressure that is within us. If at all your friends are those friends that actually lure you or carry around you to, you know, get more into this, and you know very well deep down you don't want it, then you can exclude yourself from the chain of friends, or you can know when to, you can create like a border within between you and them. Last but not least, do you think it's a choice or it's a survival mode? Comment down below. Yeah, I don't want to talk here like a parrot the whole day. I think I'll end the video here, and thank you for watching. If you're that girl, be strong.